to another exciting episode of Funding McGeeda Jones. I am McGeeda Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back and joining me for another exciting video. If you're new, I am a debt-free prop money budgeter. I use my credit cards for all of my purchases, and I use prop money in my cash envelopes to visually represent the amount of money I can spend in each category. Today, we're doing an expense check-in and unstuffing, and you will see that your girl spent some money this month. It is so unlike February, where she was just so good and had leftover and rollover. Not this month. This month is a mess. So if you're interested in seeing me unstuff all the cash that I have in my envelopes, stay tuned. So welcome back. As I said, today we're doing expense check-in and a cash unstuffing of the first 2 weeks in March. And today is March, what's today? Tuesday, March 15th. It is also payday for me. And so before we do a cash stuffing, which is going to be the video after this one, we're going to unstuff. I just recently came back, actually last night, I came back from a trip. It was a short trip, but it was for a memorial for a family relative. And I spent some money that was a little bit unexpected. So that's mainly where all these expenses are coming from. I am going to be unstuffing my cash envelopes of the money that I spent during this trip. Luckily, unlike the trip in January, this one was mostly paid for. I had gotten a credit from the airline, so I bought my plane ticket with that. And another relative paid for all of our accommodations, so I didn't have to pay for hotels. I paid for food. I paid for some expenses that was related to the actual memorial service, and just some miscellaneous stuff. So that's what you're going to be seeing in this unstuffing. So a lot of it was out of budget because they didn't know how much I was going to spend. So without further ado, let's just get to it. So I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm going to put somewhere on the screen, somewhere over there, over here, over there, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna put somewhere on the screen what I budgeted versus my actual. I'm gonna tell you in the video, but I'm also gonna post it in case my words come out a garbled mess, as they tend to do in these videos when I go back and watch them. So you will see actual written out words of what I actually budgeted versus what I actually spent, and how much my cash envelopes will be off by. And most of them, almost all of them, will be off by some negative amount. I'm just letting y'all know. But before we start, I want to thank God I have my mahogany sage candle to help me get through this. This is like my favorite scent, like currently my favorite scent, and I love this candle. And I have one of the reasons that I'm over budget is airport water. In California, they have these metal bottles, which are really cool looking, but this bottle of water cost me $5. $5 for a bottle of water. So now you see why your girl's over budget. Anyway, so we're gonna have a sip on this incredibly expensive water, which just tastes like tap, but whatever. And we're gonna get to unstuffing. So let's do this. Okay, we didn't do anything hot ed. The first one is Dollar Tree. We went to Dollar Tree a lot to buy some supplies for the memorial, for some deco. So I only budgeted $5. We're gonna take this out. I actually spent $94. So we're gonna have to make this up in the cash stuffing. Eating out, I will not be putting $90 in my no eating out challenge envelope this month because I went well over budget. It was like ridiculous, but you know, we'll make it up. We'll get there. So eating out, I had budgeted, I had $28 budgeted. I spent $75. So we're going to take all of this money out, which is 10, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28. And I don't know if you remember, I was given some money last month, and I had put that into my eating out budget. So that's how I have 28 here instead of the 15 that I originally stuffed. No, I just said I was 28. Yeah. So this is right. Never mind. Fun, we're going to skip. And giving, we're going to skip. And groceries, I think I put in here groceries 150 for the first part of the month. We're going to be stuffing 150, but we're going to take all this out of here because I actually spent 252. So household, we didn't do anything. Miscellaneous, this is where all the money that I spent for the memorial and the decor and all this other stuff came from. So I'd only budgeted $5 for miscellaneous, which we're going to take that out. We're going to open that up, take out my whole $5, and I actually spent $123 in that category. So we're going to put this off to the side. Actually, I should put it into my little tray here. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. So, yeah. Let's see. It was a nice send-off. For those of you who don't know, I had a loss in the family in January, and I had an emergency trip to go be with family during that loss, and then we just had the memorial service this last weekend. So that is where all these expenses are coming from. They were kind of unexpected expenses, so I tried to budget for them, but I didn't know how much they were going to be, and I kind of had to start my budget over in January because of the unexpected emergency that had taken place. So that's kind of where this is all standing. So this is what we have so far. This is all we're taking out of our cash envelopes. And we're going to go over to our sinking funds and take some money out of there. So in sinking funds, I did spend some money in beauty and hair. I should have $8 in here, but I spent $18. So I'm going to take the whole $8 out of here. And then hobbies and crafts. I did not budget anything in hobbies and crafts, but I spent $70. So there's nothing to take out of here because there's nothing in there. So I'm going to have to make that up. And my last envelope that we're doing is the big guy, which is going to be travel. So I restarted my travel envelope again, as many of you know, but because of this trip, I had pulled some more money out. And we're going to take everything out of travel, which should be $95. I spent $188, so we have $95, which we're going to be taking out. 50, 20, and 5. Okay, we're going to put this back. We're going to go back to our cash envelopes. We're going to take out our tracker. We're going to see how much I spent. So in spent, okay. We're going to erase this because this was last month's spent. Okay. So we've got one. Let's go ahead and count this, how much we have. So we have 100, 150, 200, 220, 240, 250, 260, 265, 270, 275, 280, 285, 287, 288, 289, 290, 291. So we have $291 that we're putting into the spent. Let's see. This is 315 plus 291 equals 291. Now, when I look at my personal capital account, which is, for those of you who don't know, to track all my expenses, I use an app called Personal Capital. And what it does is I link it to my credit cards, and I link it to my checking account and some investment accounts, and it takes all the transactions that come off of my credit card and puts them into a budgeting tool, which categorizes them. And I go in and further, it kind of guesses at some of the categories that things are applied to, but I then go in further, and I had created categories to match my cash envelopes, and I go in further and to recategorize certain things. So that's how I know how much these numbers are. If you're ever wondering how as prop money people, well, how I as a prop money budgeter keep track of my expenses versus what I spent versus what I budgeted, that is how I do it. I'm really too lazy to keep my receipts and to write everything down in a Happy Planner, which I do use a Happy Planner, and I love Happy Planner. I think they're awesome. But I've been very bad with writing down my daily expenses. So using personal capital has really helped me in terms of combining all those expenses throughout the month and then going in and seeing what category I've spent X amount of dollars in. And it's also great because it keeps your information for, I think, for 2 or 3 years. So you can go out back and look at your whole, like what you spent in eating out for an entire year, what you spent at Dollar Tree for an entire year. If you've gone through and categorized them every month like I do, you'll have an accurate account. And if you use your credit card and you go back and categorize your expenses on a monthly basis like I do, you will have a great accounting of what you spent in each of your envelope categories. Like for Dollar Tree, you can see how much you spent in 2021 at Dollar Tree. You can see how much you spent at Amazon, if that's one of your categories, for an entire year. And if you decide that you want to cut back in a particular category based on what you're seeing from the previous year, or you say, okay, you know what, I spent too much money at Amazon, I'm lying myself, I'm gonna take maybe $500 off of my total year spend at Amazon. You can go in, you can kind of like work your budget towards that and see how close you get. Sometimes, you make these budgeting decisions at the beginning of the year and life happens and you don't meet those goals. But it is interesting to see when you intentionally make a budgeting goal to see like what was my goal versus what it was before and how much did I actually save. And that was my thought process in creating the No Eat Out Challenge. I looked at what I was spending last year versus what I wanted to spend this year. And I said, you know what, I can make some savings here. I can make some savings here. And if, I can save myself $90 every month and not spend as much eating out and maybe eat in, this money could go towards something else. So that's how the No Eat Out Challenge kind of came about, is because I was looking at my last year's eating out spend versus what I decided I wanted to spend this year. And yeah, that's how you can kind of cut back on your expenses and save some money. And at the beginning of the year and looking at your, if you're at the beginning of 2022, you decided this is what I want to spend on this category. You may not reach the actual dollar amount. You may be off, you may be over, but the fact that you put it down on paper saying, I want to spend, let's say, $5,000 a year from groceries. I don't even know if that's doable, but anyway, let's say you want to spend $5,000 a year on groceries and you actually spend $5,500 instead of $8,000 or $10,000. You still are being mindful and you're still saving money, and rather than not knowing what you're spending on a yearly basis. It works out for me. I don't know if that was very convoluted what I said, but personal capital has really helped me kind of see what I spent from previous years versus what I can spend now. And if you're new to budgeting, and if you are good with your credit, if you're new to budgeting and you know that you can manage spending with your credit cards and paying that bill off at the end of every month, that is the thing. You have to pay your bill off at the end of every month. You cannot carry a balance. That's why I can use my credit cards, because I've gotten to the point where I've become more disciplined with doing that. I haven't carried a credit card balance. I've been using my credit cards since I got out of debt 5 years ago, and I have not carried a credit card balance in that whole time, because I've gotten very disciplined with budgeting and using cash, and now I can use my credit cards. But if you're new to this and you have a problem with using your credit cards, I would suggest just using cash. Don't do this, and personal capital will probably not work for you. Maybe if you use your debit card, you can do that. But for some people, that's just like using a credit card. It's probably best just to keep using cash. But anyway, I've rambled on enough. That's how I track my expenses. I had to go back to what I was originally talking about. That's how I track my expenses. So we have $291 that we're putting into our spent folder. And when I do the cash stuffing video, which is coming up next, I will make up the difference of what I have in my envelopes versus what I spent. So overall, when I look at my expenses up until this point for the first 2 weeks in March, I spent $924. So I have, look at our calendar, let me see. So I'm back. I spent $924 minus $291. We have to make up $633. which will be interesting to see how we do that. But I have confidence that I will do that. I will make up my $633 with this cash stuffing, and we will be ticking and tying, and we will not have to pull for our emergency funds. And that is a goal, not to have to pull from my emergency fund. So if I can make this all tick and tie and not have to pull from my emergency fund, we are golden. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you tune in for the next one, where I will be cash stuffing these envelopes again, and basically taking the money I was supposed to stuff and put it into the Smith, because it's pretty much all already gone. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.